All right, Rob, let's go back to the NFL. And Tyreek Hill, everybody's putting out lists. And Rob, this is interesting because, again, a lot of times athletes will get upset when media put out lists. And now that athletes, or even are critical of athletes, and now that more athletes are getting into the media, and Tyreek Hill is involved with podcasting, they are doing the same thing. And that's fine. But it just shows you, like you always say, they used to say you never played, you can't critique us. But even when a Shaq or Charles Barkley, who were all-time
now
greats,
they got their panties in a bunch
they get
too.
upset with them. Right. So, look, I say it all the time, Rob, and we're not out to just look for the negative. We're just calling it like we see it. But I say what we do, Rob, we're doing nothing any different other than we do have some, firsthand knowledge of the players, the coaches, the teams, and the sports because we've covered them for decades, you and I. But we're doing what they are doing in every barber shop, every sports bar, every group of guys that gets together and watches a game on TV. We're just talking about the players positively or negatively.
Right.
We're calling it like we see it. Oh, Jordan's better. LeBron's better. That's what they do in all these barbershops. No different.
No doubt, Chris. And it's all subjective.
Right.
Everybody has different criteria. Some people put a bigger thing on winning. Some people don't care if you win or not. It's just about how you play. It's all different. It's not like math. When you do math, Chris, 2 and 2 is 4, no matter who's doing it. But when you talk about stuff like this, it's all arbitrary. We talk about it all the time. Like even if you say, well, who's the GOAT? All you want to know is what's your criteria, how'd you get to that point, right?
Right.
There's no right or wrong answer.
You got to have some
What's your criteria,
some logic.
right?
Yes.
Right. If I hear you and you say, well, LeBron did it with 3 different teams, and he did this, and he did that, and he went to playoffs, the finals 10 years in a row, and those are things that are important to you, then you can make the case. That's all. And I can disagree.
We may disagree, and we'll go at it, but you're right. It is subjective. And the difference, too, Rob, is that we do have to answer for our opinions. We get critiqued. We get criticized. I was talking with my wife the other day. She's a medical doctor. Obviously, her work is more important than mine. But I was talking to her about how hard I've been working, and she was like, your job ain't hard. I said, hold up. I said, I am accountable every show I go on, TV and radio. People are looking for something to critique for me and you. People are looking, anything we say, Rob, people are looking to tear it down, just like the athletes. We are in a public job. And so we have to have thick skin because people will come for that head.
There's no doubt about it. But I think your wife has more critique and more pressure to make sure she doesn't slip up.
No question about that.
If she it's malpractice if your wife does something. It's malpractice.
Yeah,
For us, it's just
I wasn't saying I'm as important. My job. I was just saying, hey, it's not the toy department like they used to call it.
They used to call the sports department the toy department. Like you guys. And then, Chris, we always laughed, and you'll appreciate this too, is, election day for the newsroom, they buy pizza for everybody. Remember, they got to write on deadline, Chris. They're going to be working past midnight. And we, the sports people, would laugh and go, we write on deadline every night, and we work past midnight every night. What is this? We don't get free pizza.
Rob, I was telling somebody today, since I went to Fox, that's the first time I had weekends off in my entire career.
Right.
Which is, 30 plus years.
Right. We always work weekends
Saturdays
and holidays.
And Tuesdays were no different.
Yep.
Games every weekend. You're traveling. You're going to the games. But it's nice to have the weekends off for once. But anyway, let's get to Tyreek Hill. He gave his top 5 all-time receivers, Rob. Here's his list. Was it this order, Rob G? Or he just gave 5? All right, here we go. Antonio Brown, Torrey Holt, Calvin Johnson, Randy Moss, and Terrell Owens. Obviously no Jerry Rice. He was asked about that. Here's what he said. A lot of people get mad at me because I don't put Jerry Rice in my category. I love Jerry Rice. He played a long time in the NFL. He's like the alpha of our position. He wasn't playing in the sweet spot where I was able to watch. I was able to, in my rookie year, watch prime AB go out there and go for like 200 yards. So I'm going to say this, Rob. Obviously, Jerry Rice is the best receiver ever. I think it's that obvious. But he, at the very least, should be in your top 5. But I'm going to say this about Tyreek Hill. It's not his job. Now, yeah, okay, he's dabbling in media. But he put it out there. These are the guys I've seen. And our job as kind of the caretakers of these sports to some degree, Rob, like you have Hall of Fame vote for baseball. I have NBA All-Star, NBA All-NBA and MVP votes and all that. That makes us caretakers of the sport because the decisions we make have repercussions. I mean, really. Like, your vote could keep somebody out of Hall of Fame or put them in the Hall of Fame. My votes could, lead somebody to making an extra $50 million or not. So we are caretakers in that regard, and we must know the history of the games. An athlete like Tyreek Hill, and this differentiates us from these guys who's doing podcasts, that's not really his job. So if he just wants to give the best 5 receivers he's seen with his eyes, I'm all good with it.
Yeah, I'm not. I think you're giving him a big pass for Jerry Rice, who some consider might be the greatest football player for some. I think it's a total disrespect of Jerry Rice and what he accomplished. Jerry Rice didn't play in the 1920s. For him to act like he doesn't know what Jerry Rice has done and the numbers that he can look at and when he played in the tougher situations where wide receivers and guys got paralyzed and all the other stuff that went on, I just think it's disrespectful. I don't need to see Babe Ruth play in order for me to look at the numbers and understand what went on to at least acknowledge the guy. Calvin Johnson put up great numbers, Chris. He didn't win one playoff game. He didn't play in one game that ever mattered. And they were down 21-0 in the first quarter. So guess what? Matthew Stafford could throw the ball the rest of the game, and they would let you catch the ball in front of him. Now, I'm not knocking Calvin Johnson for that being his situation and what he did because he was a hell of a receiver. But let's put some context to it. Jerry Rice won championships. Jerry Rice cannot be ignored, cannot be acted like, well, I don't know what he did because I didn't watch. I know I wasn't around really when Martin Luther King was around, but let me tell you, I know he was a great man because I've done my homework and my research, and I've read up on these people. And the idea that Tyreek Hill could leave out Jerry Rice is totally ridiculous, and once again tells me why I don't know why fans and other people want to listen to these guys when they're not going to give you an honest, just
no. He gave you an honest,
and it's a terrible take to leave Jerry Rice out. It just is, Chris.
Rob, I hear you. I said Jerry Rice is clearly the best receiver. He never saw him play.
There's video. They haven't seen Michael Jordan play.
To watch the video.
Kids haven't seen Michael Jordan.
His job is to go out there and be the best receiver he can be. Now, if you want to argue he should watch tape of Jerry Rice, that's okay. But he doesn't.
Shame
apparently.
on him. Shame on him that he hasn't watched tape on Jerry Rice.
He's doing fine.
Shame on him that you wouldn't.
He's doing great. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame next to Jerry Rice. Shame on him. He don't want to watch tape. He don't have to.
That you don't want to watch a guy who was one of the all-time greats. Even the kids who were born way after Michael Jordan stopped playing, they watch YouTube. They watch the documentary. They all, even after it was all over, even though they were born in the LeBron era, when they voted on ESPN.com, they went crazy over Jordan when they really got to see him. That's all I'm saying, Chris, is it's lazy and weak by Tyreek Hill to put out such a bogus and ridiculous list. And am I wrong on the Calvin Johnson, Chris? I'm just talking about the context.
Look, I don't know. I don't agree with the list. I was telling right. He got a lot of malcontents. Now, Randy Moss and T.O., even though they were malcontents, they obviously had great careers, so they should be in your top 5. Antonio Brown as a great receiver. It's not, obviously, you got to have Jerry Rice. All right, there's no doubt about it. But I'm saying if he has told you, this is why I had this list. These are the guys I've seen. It's like when all these players, well, two is too many. But when they said Paul George is the GOAT, they clarified my GOAT. He's my favorite player of all time or my best player of all time. That's ludicrous, but it's theirs. You just said it's subjective.
Not Chris.
And why do you got to give us a reason for your list? And Tyreek Hill said, I never saw bruh play.
What kind of list? Did he watch the Lions games? I covered them. I covered all of. Did he watch the Lions games, Chris?
Seriously, Rob G, how did the years overlap? Because then you got him.
Did he? I'm just asking because
Rice obviously was much older.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, I don't get it. I really don't get the list. And I just don't understand how you could even start a wide receivers list without having Jerry Rice on it. That's all. And if you don't know Chris and you know the legend of it, you grew up at wanting to be a wide receiver or whatever, or becoming a great wide receiver, shocking that Jerry Rice wouldn't be on your list. That's
Rice retired in 2004, and obviously he was like 42 years old. Calvin Johnson retired in 2015. He came into the league in 2007. Right. So, he's saying the guys he saw. It's like somebody like my partner Nick Wright does his list of top 50 players in the last 50 years. Now, he didn't see all them, but it's his job.
He was 9 years old when Randy Moss was playing, and he knew he was taking notes. Please, he was 9 years old. He didn't watch Randy Moss's career. No, he didn't.
I watched a lot of dudes. When I was that young, I was watching
I would challenge him for him to remember what Randy Moss was doing
Swan
when he was 9.
And all these was Cliff Branch and Isaac Kurz. I was watching dudes religiously. I don't know if he was. I'm just saying, don't rip the 9-year-olds out there.